Hi, welcome back to Bandwagon fans. I'm Jeff, and before I get started, I just want to thank all of my returning subscribers and invite any new people to the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right under the video. This is a pretty new channel. I've only been doing this for a couple months, and it means a lot to me every time I see a new subscriber come up. You can also follow me on Facebook at the Bandwagon fans, or on Twitter, Jeff at the BW fans. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, so three ways you can follow me right now. So right now I'm going to be talking about the movie Bad Samaritan, and normally I would do kind of a non-spoiler review. However, this movie has already been out for, I saw it about 10 days ago. And so this review is going up pretty late, so I'm going to let everybody know from the beginning that I'm not going to worry about spoilers. I will talk about spoilers if they come up. In short, I can save y'all a lot of time. Do not watch this movie. Don't watch it on Netflix. Don't watch it for free. Certainly don't pay for it. This is easily the worst movie I've seen so far this year, and is a front runner to be worst movie of 2018. And I will get into exactly why I hate this movie so much. So Bad Samaritan, this is starring David Tennant, on the east side of the Atlantic, known as Doctor Who. In America, might be better known as the Purple Man from the Jessica Jones series. And it's also Robert Sheehan, who's been in quite a few movies that I could care less about. So, Robert Sheehan plays the Bad Samaritan. He's a valet who's also a small-time thief, breaks into people's houses after he gets the keys while he's parking their cars. He uses their keys to break into their houses and steals small stuff. Then until the night he breaks into David Tennant's house and finds a woman chained up, bound, gagged, being tortured, and has to flee the scene before being caught by David Tennant. And then the rest of the movie is David Tennant knowing that Robert Sheehan has been in his house and is turning around and trying to torture Robert Sheehan's character as much as he was torturing this woman. So that being said, that's it had the potential for being somewhat creative, in the sense that the Bad Samaritan concept of what happens when a bad person comes across an even worse person, but that entire concept gets squandered, and it turned in the very beginning because early on Robert Sheehan swears off ever stealing again. So he's really just a hooker with a heart of gold who comes across a sociopath. So anything creative they might have done differently just gets written off pretty much at the end of the first act. So the rest of the movie really just revolves around Robert Sheehan trying to help this woman and it's basically just light torture porn. It doesn't get as gruesome as like Saw or Hostel, but it's torture porn nonetheless, just like the Skinamax version of torture porn. This movie, if they wanted to find a more appropriate title, would have just been Woman in Refrigerators, the movie. So, quick little history lesson. For anybody that doesn't know what Woman in Refrigerators refers to, this is a term coined by Gail Simone. And it refers to issue 54 of the DC Comics Green Lantern, or Green Lantern issue number 54, in which Green Lantern returns home to find his girlfriend, I think it was Alexandra DeWitt, murdered and stuffed into a refrigerator by the villain Major Force. It's comic books, silly names abound, just deal with it. So he comes home, she's murdered, she's stuffed in the refrigerator, and Gail Simone uses this as an opportunity to describe any situation where a woman is kidnapped, tortured, maimed, beaten, solely under the guise of instigating a male protagonist to do something. And this movie is basically that. It's the initial woman who is literally just bound and gagged and being tortured. And then there's a scene about maybe towards the end of the second act where Robert Sheehan's girlfriend just gets absolutely gobsmacked, David Tennant catches her just very viciously, violently beats the shit out of her, and then she's in the hospital, and the sole purpose of that was to force Robert Sheehan's character to act in a particular way, and then she's never heard of again. So her character, the girlfriend, was solely there to get the crap beat out of her to inspire the male character, just like the initial woman who was bound and gagged was solely there to inspire the male character to do something. And it's a trope. It just needs to go away. Like it just needs to stop. It's senseless. It's pointless. If done correctly, it could illuminate some reality about human nature. But the real problem with this is, and I'm going to introduce another term from critical theory, and that's the male gaze. So the male gaze refers to the idea that, particularly in film, movies are made from a male point of view. Men in movies are portrayed as something we as males aspire to, and women are simply portrayed as objects of desire. So when you take this women in refrigerators trope in a context where the male gaze is in full effect, you have to ask yourself, okay, if the woman is there to be an object of desire, what the hell is wrong with people that are desiring women that are bound, beaten, and gagged? The entertainment value comes from how creatively can we torture this female in this movie. And for me, I'm done with that. I don't want to see that stuff anymore. There's a time when I was, early 20s, teenager, where it was a novelty to see how gruesome something could be. But I grew out of that pretty quick, and I'm really ready for the rest of the country to do so as well. There is a way to portray violence in a movie. One is to where you shed light on some aspect of the human condition, or even in an entertainment value, such as Die Hard, or another movie I just saw, which I'm going to talk about briefly, Breaking In. So Breaking In is a movie that came out about a week after Bad Samaritan, starring Gabrielle Union. And in this movie, she gets the crap beat out of her. However, the difference between how Gabrielle Union gets the crap beat out of her in Breaking In and how these women in Bad Samaritan are portrayed is that Gabrielle Union still has agency. She has violence inflicted on her, but she's on an equal footing with her perpetrators and is able to resist and fight back and ultimately overcome. The entertainment doesn't come from the violence against her, it comes from how she overcomes that violence. Whereas in Bad Samaritan, it was just a Mad Lib of insert random torture word here. And it's just, there was a couple seating close to me, and they walked out with about 20 minutes to go. I was ready to walk out within 30 minutes, but I've taken it as my job to watch these movies so that you guys don't have to, and so I stuck through to the end. And if you get to the end, you get the final last F you from the movie and from me. So I mentioned how the difference between Bad Samaritan and Breaking In is that Gabrielle Union displayed agency throughout the movie. Well, in Breaking In, the woman, the tied up woman, does get free after being shot and dropped in a pit of lye. Not lies, but actual lye. So she has one moment where she's able to resist and fight back. And so somebody might say, somebody might want to argue with me and say, well, no, the whole movie was setting up her ultimate resistance, so it's not a misogynistic pile of trash. And I'm going to say, bullshit. That's like going to Burger King, ordering a double Whopper with bacon and cheese and an extra large fry, and then getting a Diet Coke and saying, well, I'm making healthy choices because I ordered a Diet Coke. And not judging anybody who orders that stuff. That's actually one of my favorite. It's one of my, probably 2 or 3 times a month, that is my order at Burger King. But the fact that I order a Diet Coke doesn't negate the other bad choices I'm making. It's just slightly minimizes the crap I'm putting in my body. Whereas this movie is a whole pile of crap that tries to give you a Diet Coke at the end and say, well, see, we're making good choices, but you're not, you're horrible, shame on whoever made this movie, and I can't stress enough, do not see this under any circumstance. Do not support film like this. It's just pointless, and it doesn't do anything to entertain, it doesn't do anything to educate, and if you are entertained by this, I hope you don't live next door to me, because you got issues. So that's my opinion. I will stand by it. For those of you who maybe like this type of stuff, feel free to leave your comments below. If it gets out of hand, I will not hesitate to delete your comments, but if you keep it rational, I would be interested in hearing what you have to say. And for everybody else, leave your comments. Are you as sick of this kind of movie as I am? Because I'm really, truly sick of these things. So, like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, on Facebook, and as always, stay tuned for upcoming reviews. Got a pretty busy slate coming out next couple months, so get on the bandwagon.